What if Deku joined Team JPDE? Chapter 32. Defenestration. You chose the wrong day to show your mug again, Evelyn shouted in a furious rage. Back at the campsite. Making a lot of assumptions there, Isabella, Jack said. Jack then activated her semblance. Euthila said. I can't control its potency, but I can control the size perfectly, sister. Even making it so thin it only affects the air around me. I may not be willing to kill you, Isabella, but did you really think you could attack one of my teammates and get away with it? Jack shouted. Jack then punched Thilla, sending her flying back. Thilla said. Do not mistake my mercy for hesitation, Jack said, appearing behind Thilla. Jack then punched Thilla again. Thilla said. Seems like we've been missing a lot of quality family time, huh? I suggest we catch up. I'll teach you to respect your older sister and her friends if I have to break your goddamned legs. Now come at me, you little brat, Jack said. Jack then began to pulverize Thilla with a flurry of punches. Miss Ivory seems to be on top of things and Miss Damarot's aura is flaring strong. Very good. Now, considering his opponent, I would be more prone to go and support Mr. Dik Begis. But I did not expect Titania and Izuku to have such a hard time, Peach said. Up in the gate gear work. What is with you? No matter how many explosions to the face you take, you just keep getting back up. Your aura should be gone, and it feels weird, Bella said. Wouldn't you like to know? Now your semblance. Explosions and super strength aren't exactly related, so you have some sort of do-all semblance. But there seems to be some limits, otherwise you would have just made us drop dead, Deku said. Not true. I'm not killing you two only because that would make David hate me even more, Bella said. Yeah, sure. You're faster, stronger than us, and you're exploding all over my face, Titania said. You're not getting any information about my semblance from me, Bella said. I know. But, I bet it can't make you fly, can it? Titania asked. What? Bella said. Titania then charged at Bella and sent them both through the window. Titania, Deku shouted. Bella opened her lighter and then they were surrounded by a large stream of fire. Are you crazy? Bella asked. Maybe. I'm still discovering myself after all. Anyway, in absence of my semblance, may I introduce you to my friend Gravity? Titania said. You bitch, Bella shouted. Titania and Bella then hit the ground hard. Ah. Shit, David said. David's right arm was now out of its socket on its own. Starting to understand a little better, now. My semblance is not whistling to make you trip. It's manipulating living things with sound. Human, grim, animal, it doesn't matter none. As long as something can hear the sounds I produce, be it a symphony or a simple whistle, they cannot escape the effects of my semblance, Weza said. You could have killed me right away, David said. Oh, it's a possibility. But making someone, say, strangle himself takes a much more complicated piece. But again, I'm not here to kill you. I'm here to test you, Dik Begis, and this is stage 2. The only way to not be affected by my semblance is to stop it, Weza said. Very well, then. I will stop you cold, David said. Ah, see. That's the spirit, Weza said. David then activated Jack's inspiration. It's like a game. Who may you be, now? Weza asked. Your worst nightmare, David said. Are you, now? Did you forget that I only need a little tune to change, Weza said. But nothing happened. Are you, Weza said. David then was able to hit without any problems. Back in the forest. Wah. Hey, watch it. I just stole this jacket, you know. It's designer clothes, Andrea said. I don't care, Evelyn said. Of course you wouldn't. You make your own clothes like a peasant, Andrea said. Oh, you don't get it, do you? It's not just the clothes. I don't care about the shit pouring out of your mouth, I don't care why you're here before me. All I care about is carving you open and leaving your body strung up in this forest, Evelyn said. Ah, that imagery. That sounds wonderful, Evelyn. I think I'm gonna do it to you, though. Better idea, Andrea said. The two both gave each other a crazed look. Back inside Peak, David had to stop using Jack's inspiration as it was consuming too much aura. So you do have an aggressive bone in you, Dik Begis. You're an exceptionally versatile individual, HM. Custom made to potentially be able to deal with any situation. Indeed, the complete opposite of the Guardian, Weather said. Again. That flaming bastard said something similar. The Guardian of what? The Flame, maybe. How am I similar to him? And why, David asked. Only clearing stage 2 doesn't give you access to that kind of reward, David. Just be content with the metal. We shall take our leave for today, Weather said. David said. Grow strong, David. And always watch your back. Unlike me, Peak will try to kill you at every turn, Weather said. Good job, David. You're alright. Well, mostly, Deku said. Deku walked up to David whilst Carrier knocked out Titania. Deku. Those burns on Titania. Where is Bella? David asked. Taking a nap just like Titania. She's an explosive girl. Titania is a bit worse for wear. She did fling herself and Bella out of a window, Deku said. She what? David asked. Guess she has the same tactic as you, Deku said. But at least I didn't blow myself up this time, David said. True, you've improved a lot, Deku said. Indeed. You all did fine, especially you, Mr. Dik Begis. Considering your opponent, that was a more than splendid performance, Peach said. Professor Peach. You were looking, David asked. And ready to jump in. Did you really think I would leave my students without supervision while handling dangerous good? Peach asked. No. No, you wouldn't, David said. Speaking of dangerous. We best go help the girls with their fights, Deku said. Right. Let's go. Hey, what are you? David asked. Setting your shoulder, Peach said. Bouncing ballistic bunny balance, that hurts, David shouted. Hey, keep it down. Some of us need to rest, Titania said. Well, it's time to wake up, Titania, Deku said. Moo, Titania said. The four then left Peak. Jack. Are you alright? Deku asked. I'm alright, partner. My sister just left. Seems like one of you did a number on Bella, Jack said. Oh, so that's why she wasn't where I defeated her, Titania said. That was more of a draw, Deku said. Hey, Titania said. What about Evelyn? She, David said. Focus. Her aura is coming close. Alongside someone else, Jack said. It doesn't feel like Howard, David said. Yeah. It's someone new, Deku said. And whoever it is, they are coming in fast. A little too fact actual. Holy. Scatter, Jack shouted. Evelyn and Andrea the flew past. Evelyn, David said. Gotcha, Andrea said. Evelyn then hit back. Bitch, Evelyn said. I do, Evelyn yelled. Deku then caught Andrea. Got her, Deku said. Good job. Don't let her go, Jack said. Hey, handsome. You must be Aiju, Andrea said. Deku said. Oh my gods, don't even think about it, Evelyn shouted. Well, you threw me at him, so there, Andrea said. Sorry, but don't think I'm going to let you go just because, Deku said. Andrea then began to gab and fondle Deku's crotch. Where the hell are you touching? Don't touch me, Deku said. Oh my. Next time, though, Andrea said. Andrea then tightened their grip. Deku screamed out in pain and let go of Andrea. She did not, Titania said. Partner Jack said. Sorry, handsome. If you're all out here, it means we're done for the day. Don't wanna miss my ride, Andrea said. The only thing you're riding is the blade of my weapon. Mouth first, Evelyn said. Sounds like a fun afternoon, Andrea said. Jack, Titania and Peach gathered around Andrea. And you have such interesting arguments to convince me to stay. But allow me a rebuttal, Andrea said. Students, cover your, Peach said. Like dust, Andrea said. Everyone was then blinded by a bright light. Ack. That little, Titania said. Cheese. Getting away, David said. No, 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 Evelyn repeated over and over. As the light faded and began to recover, Evelyn then began to cry. Damn it, Evelyn shouted. Evelyn then had a total breakdown. Deku was quick to pull Evelyn into a hug. Evelyn. Was that, Deku asked. Evelyn nodded. It's okay. It's okay, Deku said. The others didn't really know what was going on and thought it best to leave Deku and Evelyn alone. After calming her down, they boarded the bullhead back to Beacon, though she did not leave Deku's embrace. Evelyn, David said. I'm sorry, David, Evelyn said. Carrots. What happened? Who was that girl, Jack asked. Hey. I'll tell you everything when we land. I guess it's time to even out, get everyone's cats out of the bag, Evelyn said. Izuku. You know what happened, Jack asked. I don't have all the details, but... Yes, Deku said. They then soon arrived back at Beacon. Welcome back, everyone, Penny said. Team JPDE were stunned by Penny's new look. Penny, David said. I knew you'd be surprised. How do I look, Penny asked. Well, different. You're taller, and... your chest, Evelyn said. The second thing. Out of everything about her that's changed, the second thing you mention is her breasts, Jack said. Oh, gimme a break. She was pretty flat, earlier, Evelyn said. Thanks for noticing my augmentations. Not too big, I hope, Penny said. Penny, that's not. Don't ask those kind of things out loud, Deku shouted. Oh, right, sorry. I guess I should ask in private, Penny asked. You're incredible, Penny. You wouldn't believe the doom and gloom on the trip back. But you broke it in seconds, Titania said. Shorter than that, I might say. A new record, if people actually took records of such things, Peach said. Gloom. Did something happen, Penny asked. Hey. Yes, but... I'm already feeling better, now. Thanks, girlfriend, Evelyn said. Yeah, thanks, Penny. Let me just say you're looking good, Jack said. Yeah. So these are the modifications you mentioned, David asked. Talk about a growth spurt, Deku said. Thank you, but... could you please tell me what happened? You look physically fine, so I guess the damage was emotional, Penny said. Yeah. That past I told you, Iju and Daddy Dirtist about came back rearing its ugly head, Evelyn said. I guess that's what Isabella meant when they came for all of us, Jack said. Yeah. Alright, time to come clean. Let's go back to the room. If he's involved with us, you need to know everything, Evelyn said. Yeah, let's, Jack said. Who, Evelyn? What exactly do you mean by? He, David asked. Exactly what it sounds like, Evelyn said. Hold up. You did not mention that, Deku said. No way, Titania said. Inconceivable, Peach said. Are you kidding me, Jack asked. Evelyn, sweetheart, you cannot be possibly saying that, David said. The murderous cottontail who ruined my Sunday is named Andrea Demarot, and despite appearances, he's my male cousin. Or what's left of him, Evelyn said. So. This is confusion, Penny said. The group then head for Team JPDE's room. I wasn't born with these eyes, Evelyn said. Papa said they are an indication of aura splicing, Penny said. Someone altered your aura, Jack asked. Not someone. Something. A grim, Evelyn said. A grim. Wait, a grim that doesn't kill, David asked. This was a particular kind of grim, and when I met it, it wasn't even a grim. You know how there are grim that can possess objects, or make themselves bodies out of stuff. This is a grim that possesses people, Evelyn said. Possesses? Then, does that mean it was in a human body when it appeared before you, David asked. Or what was left of the poor soul? Emaciated, weak, I'm not sure how old they were or if it was a woman or a man that dropped at our doorstep. And no matter what, we couldn't get the grim mask off their face, Evelyn said. You took them in, Jack said. They died in my parents' bed 2 days later and literally crumbled to dust. What was left was a mass of black with bright red eyes, Evelyn said. It took a new host, Deku said. Not immediately. At first it just trapped us. My parents, my brother, my uncle and cousins. We were all locked in our house. Even as people desperately tried to break in, we couldn't do nothing but scream, Evelyn said. As it tried to change you. This is where the aura splicing comes into play, doesn't it? The Grim couldn't just take anyone as a host, Peach said. Apparently, no. And the process was painful. Everyone else in my family either died or went insane as that thing played with their bodies and aura, Evelyn said. Fuck. Man, I'm so sorry, Titania said. And in the end, Evelyn said. Only I and Andrea survived, Evelyn said. Why didn't it take you, David asked. Because Andrea asked it otherwise. It wasn't sacrifice, he didn't want to protect anyone. He wanted it to choose him so that it wouldn't choose me, Evelyn said. You mean? For him, it was a competition. That's preposterous, Penny said. The process warped his mind that much, Jack asked. No. No, that wasn't the Grim. Andrea had always been like that, Evelyn said. You know those kids who are more trouble than they're worth. They get a mine phase, or a grilling lizard's phase. Andrea had all of those together. Everything was a competition to him. He wanted bigger toys. He wanted to be in the first row at school. He wanted adults to praise him more. He wanted other kids to obey him, etc. The other kids were scared of him. The adults said it was just a phase. I kicked his ass every time I could. That night or day, I couldn't tell you, everything was pitch black. He said, Evelyn said. No. Not Evelyn, me. Me. I want it to be me, Andrea said. That thing had tortured and massacred our entire family. Before our eyes. And that little shit wanted it to take his body just to show me up. That's what my cousin is like. Well, was like. I guess that's just his body being driven around by the Grim, now. Either way, that thing needs to die, Evelyn said. Maybe not so, Evelyn, Penny said. Hey, Evelyn said. Not the need for elimination. Your cousin being gone. Father gave me all the data he has collected on this Grim's attacks. This Grim has apparently been around for a long time. There are accounts of its leftovers that date back centuries ago. At most, though, 4 years passed between different attacks. Now they've stopped cold ever since, Penny said. 4. But you said that the possessed person that came to your house looked, David said. The possession takes a toll on the host's body. Because they are constantly fighting for dominance, Deku said. Your cousin had managed to host it for close to 10 years and he has grown healthy and strong, Peach said. and with a strange obsession with female bodies, Titania said. It's not a possession. It's a symbiosis, David said. They're collaborating, Evelyn said. In a dark area, Howard stood before the boss. Boss, this. It's too much, Howard said. I know it's hard, Howard. But I can't help you any further than this. You're just going to have to try. Again and again, until you succeed, the boss said. I fear you may expect too much of me, Sir, Howard said. I expect too much of you right now, that is clear. But what about the you in the future, the boss asked. Boss, Howard said. You humans. You have something that I lack. You can grow and change yourselves way more easily. We wouldn't be in this situation, otherwise. So, even if this task may be too much for you right now, the changed you from the future will be able to overcome it. Because failure will make him smarter, wiser, stronger, more experienced. Just make sure you survive, Howard, and I'll show you that there's still enormous untapped potential in you, the boss said. Yes, boss, Howard said. End of chapter 32.